I love a good Scrum myth, don't you? But I'm constantly amazed at how many people are actually still doing them. So I've compiled my favourite top 20. I'll tell you what they are and what you should be doing instead. How many of them are you still doing? Let's find out. In at number 1, it had to be, didn't it? Story points and velocity. Now, you might be surprised to learn that story points and velocity have never been part of Scrum or the Scrum Guide. In fact, back in 2019, Jeffries, who created story points, apologised for it on X, formerly Twitter. In fact, he also called the whole idea of estimation evil. Now, Jeffries, if you didn't already know, is a co-creator of Extreme Programming and one of the 17 who created the Agile Manifesto. Check the link in the description below to find out more on his thinking on this. So, what can you do instead? Well, if you follow this channel, you'll already know the answer. Use flow metrics, cycle time, and Monte Carlo simulation. Now, for loads of videos on this subject, check the description below. And at number 2, user stories and epics. Again, these have never been part of Scrum or the Scrum Guide. As with story points, they come from Extreme Programming. Now, if you write in detail all the things you want to get done before you start the sprint, you're missing the point. The sprint is where you as a team collaboratively work on the solution, testing and confirming with the customer. It's fine to have a few notes ahead of the sprint, but these are reminders of conversations you need to have in order for you as a team to work on the solution with the customer. In at number 3. Ooh, now this one can really stir things up. I found people can get very emotive about this. Now, estimates are not mentioned in the Scrum Guide, and, as you've just heard, have been called evil by Jeffries, but forecasts are mentioned in the Scrum Guide. Now, the Scrum Guide says, in complex environments, what will happen is unknown. Only what has already happened may be used for forward-looking decision-making. Now, we live in a data-driven world, so use the data that is in your Agile tool being collected and calculate your cycle time and forecast with Monte Carlo simulation. I've done a number of videos on this, so I won't talk about it here. Just check the description below for the links to the videos on these. Number 4, ceremonies. Scrum ceremonies? They sound a little bit sinister to me. They have not ever once been called ceremonies in the Scrum Guide. They are called Scrum events, meetings. So let's stop using language that creates some sort of mystique over the use of Scrum. It's a simple, straightforward way of delivering value. Number 5, the 3 questions. The dreaded 3 questions every morning. Well, they were finally dropped from the Scrum Guide back in 2020, and good riddance. I never found that they provided any value and turned the morning meeting into a status update. So, what should you be discussing? The progress towards a sprint goal, and does anything need to change? Number 6, the daily stand-up. What? It has never been called the daily stand-up. This is another hangover from Extreme Programming. It's called the daily Scrum. Semantics maybe, but in these hybrid working days, who is really standing up when working from home? Unless perhaps you're one of those people with those motorized standing desks. But I have heard it called the daily sync or team sync, which I actually quite like. Number 7, sprint review is a demo. Oh dear. If you're treating the sprint review as a demo where you get sign-off, that smells of many antipatterns. You should be constantly interacting with your product owner, stakeholders and customers throughout the sprint, showing them progress and bouncing ideas off them. The sprint review is primarily a feedback gathering exercise to collect more ideas about what's been delivered, which can then go into the backlog. It's also the place to discuss progress towards the sprint goal. It should be a working session, not a PowerPoint presentation. Number 8, completing all the work taken into sprint. Again, this is yet another anti-pattern. The goal of the sprint is a sprint goal. It doesn't matter if all the work taken into sprint is done or not. The only thing that matters is the sprint goal. It's one of the reasons why I just don't see any value in sprint burndowns, velocity, or story points for that matter. Number 9, the sprint backlog can't change during the sprint. Well, since the goal of the sprint is a sprint goal, this is obviously yet another anti-pattern. Yes, of course the sprint backlog can change during the sprint, and it should, if you're working closely with your stakeholders and customers shaping the solution together. Look, if you try to write all the work items up front before starting the work, what you're really doing is iterative waterfall. Number 10, Scrum is only for software development. Well, this might have been true once, but it hasn't been true for at least 10 years. Scrum can be used in multiple environments and situations. I recently used Scrum for a client to improve their processes and efficiency, and they don't have anything to do with software at all. Number 11, the Scrum Master has to be technical. Now, this isn't true either. You can be completely non-technical, especially if you're not working in software development. However, you do need to understand the technologies, at least have an appreciation of how software is developed if you work in software development. So although it is true you don't need to be technical, it helps if you have a good understanding. I'd recommend reading Extreme Programming Explained by Kent Beck for an appreciation of the kind of issues presented in software development. Number 12, the Scrum Master must be present during the daily Scrum. Again, not true. The goal is self-management. If the Scrum Master spoon-feeds the team, how will they achieve that? The only thing the Scrum Master needs to do is make sure the daily Scrum happens and that the team are getting value from it. In fact, it's good practice not to show up at a daily Scrum from time to time to see if the team hold it and get value from it. Number 13, the Scrum Master removes all impediments. Not true. Self-management, remember? The Scrum Master is responsible for helping the team remove impediments by themselves or highlighting them if they're being missed. Number 14, releases are done only at the end of the sprint. Again, not true. A release can be done at any time during the sprint, could even be done every day. The goal of the sprint is to have an increment ready that fulfills the sprint goal, but you don't even necessarily have to release it even at the end of the sprint. Number 15, the Scrum Master is a junior agile coach. Now, I know a lot of people think this, but it's simply not true. The difference between a Scrum Master and agile coach is very little if they're both experienced and good at their job. A point to note here is that the Scrum Master role is not a junior position. If you work on that basis, you're going to run into trouble. The Scrum Master is a leadership position. If you put a junior or inexperienced Scrum Master into a team, how do you expect that team to become high-performing or for the Scrum Master to build any trust? Number 16, there is no planning in Scrum. I would say there's just as much planning, if not more planning in Scrum than Waterfall. You've got a sprint planning event every sprint, plus you've got the daily Scrum, which is yet another planning event where you have the chance to change the plan. So, to think there's no planning in Scrum is hogwash. Number 17, Scrum is a methodology. I hear this one quite a lot as well. Scrum is a lightweight framework, definitely not a methodology. A framework is a skeletal structure around which solutions are built. Methodology is prescriptive and may also have specific deliverables such as documents for planning or assessment. They're also usually fairly stringent in how they do things. They're also less adaptive than frameworks. And by the way, Agile is also not a methodology. It's a set of values and principles. Number 18, Scrum is Agile. Well, no, it isn't. Now, it does come under the very broad umbrella of Agile, but just because you're doing Scrum doesn't mean you'll automatically be Agile. However, if you're doing Scrum, then, in my opinion, you shouldn't need to do too much more to be Agile. Number 19, velocity and value are the same. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, look, to start with, velocity is a total waste of time and has absolutely nothing to do with value. Now, you can produce something each sprint with slick working teams, always completing the sprint goal, but if you don't measure the actual value delivered to customers, listen to them and take account of their feedback, how would you ever know if any value has been delivered at all? Number 20, Scrum means no documentation. Well, this is just not true at all. It just means only do the documentation that is needed. If you're going to produce something, then make sure there's a valid reason for it and that it's kept updated. Code written should be self-documenting. And finally, number 21. I know I said only 20, but this is a bonus one. The Scrum Master is the team's admin. Well, look, I see this a lot. The Scrum Master is not there to move the team's tickets around a Jira board or to write a status update after each daily Scrum to management, or just to schedule Scrum events and facilitate them. But if this is all a Scrum Master is doing, there's literally no point in having one at all. Okay, look, that's my top 20. Well, 21. Have I missed any of your favourites? Well, let me know in the comments below and we can have a chat and maybe a cheeky laugh about them. Also, let me know if you're actually doing any of them. No judgment, I promise, and let's see if I can help. Okay, check this video out to see where you can add more value as a Scrum Master. And if you're enjoying this, please don't forget to hit the like button, share and subscribe. Those things really help and I'd greatly appreciate it. Okay, that's it for this one. Stay safe, stay humble, and I'll see you next Thursday for another Agile Thought.